Miami, 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 Miami. It feels like Miami.
Welcome to the Heat Beat post-game show. I'm your host, Giancarlo Navas, and with me today, Heat Twitter president Alf. What's good?
I hate this camera angle that you use. Just to let
You know, we're trying to be as television as possible.
This isn't television.
This is vertical. Vertical's in, dog.
Weird.
ESPN.
Like you can't even see my jerseys.
You can't.
I put a lot of work into this.
No, but it's nice because you kind of.
I can't even get my fist pump going correctly. My elbows. I gotta.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. You got the whole. You see the environment.
Listen.
Also,
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas Eve.
What is this? Noche. What do you guys call it? Noche Buena.
Well, this
Buena?
is Noche Buenas tomorrow. It'll be Christmas.
I know, but like it's Noche Buena Eve.
Yeah, Noche Buena Eve. For the uninitiated. Also joining us, Kyle Scarlett was good. You got the, I'll give you the why, because people be complaining. Got the D Wade, hat prayer circle. I don't know what you got going on over there. If this was hangover time, they'd be killing you right now. If Schmidt and Schmolnik was in chat,
nigga, what is up with the sheets on the windows? Like, what's happening?
That's actually vinyl. It's vinyl.
What is going on? Like, I used to listen. I'm not gonna put you out there. I just used to have a homeboy who did that, and he sold drugs. So
yeah, I'm not doing that. Yeah,
he used
I was an upstanding citizen.
He used to have blankets over his windows, and he was like,
because crazy. The window's actually here. That's just the wall.
Okay, because they was trying to.
I don't want dirt on the wall.
Yeah, they was trying to get my boy.
Yeah.
So that's what he used to have blankets on the windows because he was
the trap house.
That's kind of crazy.
He didn't want people to know which room was. Like I was like, why you do that? Because I don't want them to know which room is mine. I'm like, yo, so they can kill your parents.
Okay. Chat's wild. I mean, they're saying Kyle got vinyl curtains over the aluminum foil on his window.
Hey man.
Somebody goes, Kyle just one up Kenny. Oh my god. See, look, that's Heat Beat initiation, Kyle.
I'm sorry, Kyle. I had to do it to you. I'm like,
happened.
What is
that? Listen, it's not as bad as what they did to Lute. Lute changed his whole fucking setup. He got so bullied on hangover time that he had to change his stuff. But
now we've been fucking with his Charlie Brown Christmas tree.
Oh my god, I have no idea what he has. I mean,
that motherfucker look like I got an eating disorder.
Oh, you know who else has disorder? The Brooklyn Nets, because the Miami Heat, after the most embarrassing regular season loss, and I can't remember how long, they come back, they bounce back, they get a win, they score 110. Tyler Hero has a damn near triple-double. Khalil Ware plays minutes. Jovic looks good. Alf, let me tell you, listen, I know that the Nets are a bad team. It felt good to not suck. That's all
I want to address something before we get started.
Okay, what you got?
Listen, the most angry I've been all season was after last game, right? Like
now, I missed last game, so you got to fill me in on why you. I saw the box score, but why were you angry in specific?
At the 8-point fourth quarter, and specifically, I was angry at Bam Adebayo. Like it was, everybody had a whole lot to blame. Like there was blame to go around everywhere. It was a lot of Terry Rozier, but like, listen, I can't blame every loss on Terry. I can try, and I will try, but I can't blame every loss on Terry Rozier. Bam Adebayo in that fourth quarter the other day. Like, Tyler had a bad fourth quarter, but Tyler deserves a bad fourth quarter. Like, he's earned a bad fourth quarter. Bam Adebayo could not do nothing against something Benghazi, some shit. I don't even know. It was like the 8-string back. They kept talking about he got cut by the Pistons or some shit. Like, if you get cut by the Pistons, you shouldn't be buying us. He was taking dudes down, posting down low like old school Vlade Divac. Bam couldn't do shit on him on the offensive end. Like, it was one of the worst Bam games I'd ever seen. Worst Bam fourth quarters I'd ever seen. And I was pissed. But tonight, that same Orlando Magic in Orlando just beat the Boston Celtics. So, let think there needs to be a recalibration on that loss. Listen,
I'm saying,
Kyle, I'm not trying to give them a pass. I'm still pissed at them for losing that game after being
Of
up
course.
22 going into the fourth quarter. But I think we got it. Like that Orlando Magic team plays really, really hard, especially at home, because that manic Orlando Magic crowd, all 16 of them,
20 minutes up the street for me.
yeah, like yo, you probably could hear them from your house
Man,
because
they're
they're
nuts. They're nuts. They
such
pack it
an
out. They pack it
insane
out.
crowd. It's such a, but no. Listen, man. Like tonight is this is a professional win at home, right? They like
That you
those
needed.
those discount swap shop blood red jerseys are like undefeated. They're like ridiculous. Those jerseys don't even look like official NBA jerseys, but they are killing motherfuckers in those. Maybe they get back to the grind with
They
those.
look bootleg as hell.
No, like that's what I'm saying. Like maybe they just like they get back to the
You made on 2K.
yeah, like maybe it brings the dog out of them because it's like it's such a shitty ass jersey. It's like you can't even you got to play gritty in that motherfucker. But that was a professional win, and the thing that I enjoyed the most after not having to watch Terry Rozier or Josh Richardson play basketball, the thing that I enjoyed the most is it was a lot of Pele minutes. It was a lot of Kel'el Ware minutes. Kel'el Ware looked awesome. And I don't care if Kel'el Ware looked bad. Like, I just want them to get to the point where what's important about this season is guys like Kel'el Ware, guys like Pelle Larsson. Unfortunately, Dru Smith got hurt. I've been killing people I've been killing Jaime Jaquez, but I want Jaime Jaquez to play a shit ton. Like, I want it to be. Yes, because I just wanted to be. What I don't want to see is Jaime Jaquez and Terry Rozier lineups because those lower my sperm count. Like those kill me. That not only do they kill me, they kill the next generation of Sidney. Like it is like my genetic line can't continue if I have to continue to watch Terry Rozier and Jaime Jaquez on the floor at the same time. But what I want them to play these guys, right? Like I will take these losses and I will take like a mid-ass season if I see development from younger guys. But what I don't want to see is just like a bunch of if I'm losing because Kevin Love and Terry Rozier got too many minutes, like what did I gain? I can accept it if Jaime Jaquez had a bad game or Kel'el Ware had a bad game. I can't accept it if I had to watch Kevin Love and Terry Rozier lose this fucking game to establish their legacy of mid. I'm sorry, not Kevin Love. Kevin Love's a Hall of Famer, and I love Kevin Love.
That's Zaddy. You have put some.
I love Love, but honestly, I'm so tired of Kevin Love back up 5 minutes. Like, shoot me in the fucking face on some Rodney Magruder shit. And I'm sorry if I'm rambling, guys. I told these guys beforehand, it's Christmas, okay? I've been getting drunk since Friday. Like, we lit in the Sidney household. Like, it's bad over here.
Listen, it's the end of the year, dog. We need, you know what I mean?
It's bad when I got a bourbon cherry in my old fashioned. Like, we doing different things, and I'm still working too, so it's crazy.
I love that. Kind of to your point, Alf, though, like and I tweeted the other day, I was like, Heat fans are really annoying because I really felt like after that loss, the conversation went to Spo has to go, and it wasn't just like kind of joking. Yeah, Kyle, it was like people were like dead ass, like, oh, is it time? And I'm like, a regular season game in December, I can wipe my ass with. And at the end of the day, like he could not be perfect. And I think like probably playing Kel'el Ware more minutes is not gonna like make or break their season. I think that like that's gonna increase the margins a bit. And I think you kind of saw tonight. And people are like getting me in chat or on Twitter. They're like, gotcha. You said where would it make a difference? I didn't say that. I said that that's not gonna make or break your season, but obviously like he needs to play more. To Alf's point, the fact that you're playing geriatric Kevin Love, you were playing tuberculosis Thomas Bryant, you were doing like all these things with your center minutes that were just absolutely like they were just going against all the work that you're doing. They tried Jovic at the 5, but Kyle, I think tonight they kind of found something with Ware Jovic minutes as your front court. I like the Larsson minutes with them. That lineup of Larsson, Hero, Jovic, and Ware. That 4-man trio, and then I think it was Burke in the game as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they found something with the bench, and I tweeted that out. I go, hey, those three, that trio of Larsson, of Larson, Ware, and Jovic, that's something that we can take from today that's going to go beyond, and maybe Spo was a little slow in the uptake. He was a little slow to play Hassan. Alf, you remember that?
Yeah.
We were mad because he did not play Bam for a while. This is who he is. No one's perfect. But Kyle, I like that unit. I like what I saw.
For one, I like the size of the two.
Yes. They need that dimension to their game.
Right. And then Jovic ends up having space. He's the spacer, right? So you're not putting him in a position where he's spacing for Bam. He's spacing for Ware, who's obviously going to roll. That's like he plays like a traditional big. Like obviously he's got some growth. He's a rookie. And so it's nice to see him to use his size to not even just block shots, but just be a deterrent at the rim, which we haven't had in a long time.
He's so fucking big.
No, he's just, and I think to somebody's point, he's not playing big yet. He's playing tall. I can't wait till he can play big. And maybe that's a couple seasons from now, but just being able to put him in and give him some size, on the inside. Jovic played great as far as catch and shoot. He drove to the basket. He shot free throws. So I think that's what you're going to do off the bench. You get those guys some reps. And then Pele just comes in and plays effort basketball. I think he'll find his shot eventually. But I think basically his role is to just to defend and make it uncomfortable for whoever he has to guard. Overall, I feel like they shot pretty well. Granted, there are some shots where I'm like, man, maybe not take that one. But
wait, Kyle, can I ask you a question? Am I wrong? Pele's not a good defender.
He's not a bad defender.
I think he's good.
He's not a bad defender.
I don't think he's a bad defender. I just don't think he's very good.
Right at this stage of his, obviously he's got some room to grow. I think he can be a better defender from here. Which is better.
I think he's their second best point of attack defender at guard.
If this is the worst he is, I think from here we get
what I will say I like about him is his activity and the fact that he's in good position.
Yeah.
Which honestly, being in good position, like that was what I used to yell at Josh Richardson about. G, and you remember that back in the day, even when he was still athletic enough to cover up for his defensive deficiencies. But like, I just don't even feel like I feel like he's in position. He's doing so many of the right things. He's moving like his hands. He's jazz hands and all over the place. Like he's strong. But I mean, it just feels like he's not an impediment, and I don't know what I don't know what that is, right?
Maybe he's having to guard up, Alf. Maybe that might be
it.
He's not guarding just guards. He's guarding guys who have 2 to 5.
He's doing a lot of small forwards, a lot of power forwards.
Yeah.
What I think is happening with Pele is that Spo's playing him about like 20 to 30% more minutes than he should be playing, right? Like he played this whole fourth quarter when Duncan was cooking. Right, and Duncan was having actually a really good defensive game as well.
3, I believe, or 5.
Yeah, Duncan. I don't know if Duncan fit. I don't think he finished as a leading scorer, but he was going into the fourth as a leading scorer and didn't play much in the fourth. So, like, it was to me, it's just a little too much Pele, and I think sometimes it makes him look bad. And I'm not like I think just having that kind of presence sometimes defensively, I think Ware does this too sometimes, where like he's not a good defender, like, but what he is he's there. You know what I mean? Like where a guy like Kevin Love ain't even there. Like,
right. And I think to your point, I think I think that's kind of an effect of not knowing exactly what his role is on the floor yet, what he's supposed to do. Except for roll hard, set screens, block shots, or at least defend the rim. I think that's next season. That's a thing where it's like, okay, hey, we want you to do this, this, and this. Oh, you could be faster on the up, on playing drop. Let's work on that. I think he has time for that. To your point earlier, I do want to see him play because I don't think you can get enough reps in practice. It just doesn't work that way. Game speed reps are way different than practice reps. You're going to play against tougher competition. These guys are trying to get at you. I feel like it helps him play, and he doesn't have to play 25, 30 minutes. If he gets 15 good minutes, which that's kind of what his range was tonight, he gives you something. And in games where you have teams that are a lot bigger inside, just let him be in there. If he fouls, he fouls. But like,
Kyle, my point this whole season with Kello Ware is, yes, it'd be great if you could send him down to the G League and play 30 minutes a game.
right.
That would be great if you had a backup center.
And you don't. We do not. We don't.
I would rather him get 12 to 15 minutes. G looks like an undercover cop who tapped the phone line of these two. You really do. That hat looks like it might as well say FBI on it. But like, it's also kind of racist what he said. Like, what kind of? Just because he got vinyl on his fucking walls, like, and I'm wearing a hoodie, we having a.
What you mean by that, Schmeathan?
Yeah, what you mean by that? But what I will say is, like, I would rather 12 to 15 minutes of Kello Ware at the NBA level, right, playing against NBA backup bigs than him playing 30 minutes a night in the G League. I think it's just better for him. Because what he's going to do in the G League is he's going to, and this is one of my problems with a lot of bigs in the G League. Like, back to, what was that motherfucker? Jarnell Stokes and Yante Mayton, Jarnell Stokes, Yante. Like, yo, dudes are out in the G League posting up like it's 1996, bro. Like, the bigs in the G League are doing 1996 things that when they get to the NBA,
he was still cool back then.
Yeah, like, yo, you ain't gonna score 22 a game in the post. Like, it's just not gonna happen. So, like, I don't like bigs spending too much time in the G League because it is not reality. It's not what's really going to happen. So 12 to 15 minutes at the NBA level, which the Heat have had to offer him all season. Like, this is not a Thomas Bryant got traded thing. No. This is not a Kevin Love is hurt thing. He should have had these minutes since the beginning of the year. Okay. So, like, so that's my thing with Kello. Like, let him learn on the job. He was a 15th pick in the first round.
I do think, and y'all could correct me if I'm wrong. I think philosophically, Spo prefers for rookies to earn their time. Granted, Pella has a longer leash than Ware does. Grant, he might seem, and maybe that's just the thing of Spo has the thing for guards more than he does for
positional thing more than anything, I think. Right? And yeah, it's positional.
He has a thing for guards, and the leash is a little bit longer with guards. I do think
because the bigs have a lot of responsibility in his defense.
They sure do,
and I think that he is a little skittish about it.
Do y'all feel? Granted, I'm not saying that this is the case, but this is just my thinking that possibly they want Ware to get to at least have some of the skills Bam already does have. Not now, clearly not now, but in the future as he develops. Bam didn't handle the ball early on. He also, wasn't running offense. He wasn't a hub of offense early on in his career. Over time, as he developed, then things started to get added. I don't know if that's the formula where it's like, hey, first year, we're not asking you to do all these things. We want you to do the traditional big man stuff correctly.
Just be around the rim, catch a lob. Like, I don't know how, like, the fact that he has a better shot at this point in his career than Bam did is very promising. I don't know how good Kello Ware is ever going to be, but I know he's the best backup big on this team going into the season, right? I don't ever think the whole Ware Bam together thing, I don't think it's very viable unless, like, he becomes this true, like this true 3-point shooting five, like this true stretch five. Like, I don't see it happening. And then I see some people in the chat, Carl Tiana, I hate calling you out because I love you to death, but like, she's saying Kello wasn't ready at the beginning of the year. Kello has looked like this every single game except the one where Spo threw him out against Jokic. Like, this is what he's looked like every single game. And he's progressively getting better, but he's always looked like this. Just big as a motherfucker, right? Like, just intimidating at the rim, changing shots. I'm not saying that he should be, I'm sorry, Carltiano, but I'm not saying that he should be starting next to Bam. But I will say that there's been no point in the season where the Heat had a backup five better than Kello Ware.
Agreed.
argue with me if you want to. It has not happened.
Unless they go and find one, which I don't imagine they can find one at
There
this
has not
point.
been one on the roster.
Right. And to G's point, who are you going over to the second apron for? Like, who is this backup big that you're going to pay money to?
Paul Reed?
That's such a backup big is kind of funny because it's like I don't think anybody wants to spend that much money on a guy that in the playoffs is probably going to play 8 to 12 minutes max. And so you're just always like, good teams don't do that. So like you're always like either shopping in the discount bin or you play a wing at center. And I've talked about this on other pods. Like it's either Tucker or Jay Crowder or like some other dude that you just play as backup 5 to buy you a few minutes so that you don't play Cody Zeller. But they drafted a guy who's going to be cost controlled for years to come, which makes sense. Like it makes sense. And I think he should play more. And the other thing about it, and you said he plays tall. Alf, how many times does Bam roll to the basket, catch a ball, and get stripped or has to pump fake?
Honestly, I'm like, oh my God, are Ware's hands better than Bam's?
They are. And he reminds me of Hassan. And for whatever, for better or for worse, we need a little bit of Hassan in our life.
But how great would Hassan have been at 12, 15 minutes a game as a backup 5 when you had like an all-star caliber 5? Like imagine like
he'd have been a
Hassan Whiteside backing up Alonzo Mourning.
Man, why don't I get no more minutes? Well, coach, why am I not getting more minutes?
I mean, if he had just been focused, that's a whole other conversation to have. But if he had been more focused, we wouldn't even be talking about him in past tense.
No, he can't get focused. Listen, guys, I've been drinking, so I'm gonna say it. Hassan was dumb. Okay, like it's hard for dumb people to focus. Hassan is a dumb person, and I love him to death. He's a sweetheart. Most dumb people are sweet, but he wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, man. Like he just was never going to be.
I say that about Moose all the time.
Yeah, well, Moose is another one.
Alf, do you remember when you had said that they should tell Hassan that minutes that the dog Minutes?
What?
That Hassan would have a dog named Minutes so that when he goes to the bench he can still get minutes.
Oh, because I said he should have an emotional support dog on the bench.
A service animal on the bench named Minutes. When he goes to the bench, he can still get minutes.
He still has minutes.
So Bam could play more.
I'm a little sad about Dru.
Thank you for pivoting, Kyle, because the basis of that whole conversation was very not 2024. So.
Yeah, no, Dru. I feel like he has bad NBA luck. I love him as a player because
he's gonna be Livingston. That motherfucker's gonna be Livingston. I don't know what happened to him. Bro, did you see Ira's tweet? Ira was tweeting like he died.
Yeah.
And I was like, what did they tell Ira that he can't like report? That shit. I was like, what are we?
It's rough because it's a non-contact injury. And when I saw it, I said, man, I hope that's not the Achilles.
It didn't look like an Achilles.
The way he stepped, and it looked like his calf kind of like a little bit of tension. Like a rubber band almost. I said, "Oh, come on." Man.
I didn't. I really wasn't. I wasn't.
The Ira tweet. He's like, not a knee for Dru Smith, but also not good. Season appears in the balance. Nothing further from the Heat at the moment.
They didn't mention anything either. I don't know what
they called it. A lower left leg injury.
That sounds like Achilles to me.
And then Ira, like 30 minutes after that tweet, he's just like, well, might be time for Dennis Smith Jr. or Isaiah Stevens. And I go, what are they telling you, sir?
Not deep. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to glaze over the Dru Smith injury because, listen, nobody owes Dru Smith more apologies than I do.
Dog, me too. I wanted that man.
I honestly, re-signing him probably broke me. Re-signing him or re-signing Thomas Bryant were the things that might have broke and Josh Richardson were the things that broke me the most this offseason. And he's been excellent. Like I can't say a bad thing about Dru Smith for what he brought to like a backup point guard position.
Mm-hmm. Like literally everything you would want.
Like listen, like honestly, like Gabe Vincent-esque, to the point where the shooting was getting to the point I was like, excuse me, sir? Like I was expecting it to go in every time he shot it, and that is like rare air, especially for a backup point guard for this team because we haven't had a starting point guard since the late
That's a point
80s.
guard, right?
Yeah, like but if honestly if it does come to a Dennis Smith Jr., like that is the type. Like that is a prototype for what they need is like that just attack dog mentality backup point guard to offset a little bit of what like and you guys know I've said it 1,000 times. I do not love the Tyler Hero Duncan Robinson backcourt. Like as much as I love both of those guys, but like that change of pace where you just have like a maniac come off the bench who just wants to defend and maybe shoot a three here or there. Yeah. Like DSJ has a little bit of that in him. I don't know. I'm not sure how he shoots, but as far as just like coming off the bench and just in college, just wanting to attack and wanting to defend, like that's what he does. And
Hustle,
maybe,
You know, he was shooting 70% at the rim.
Yeah.
Who?
Drew.
No, bro.
Dude, he was like good.
Yes, he had that. He had that. It was that Dion Waiters, like just that high, that keep the ball high, lay it up off the glass. That for some reason, like Tyler can't master yet. Tyler smokes that shit off the front rim every single time.
That's a small man special.
I just don't get. I don't know why Tyler.
He plays within his role, right? And not only does he play within his role, but to me, he plays with the most controlled pace on the roster as far as
never seems sped up, never seems panicked.
Right. He just he just tends to take his time. I think Spo talked about it for all the, we need to fire Spo people. He talked about doing simple, correct basketball plays over and over again. And that's what Dru brought. He would settle them down. I mean, even if you threw him in with the starters, he just kind of fit. I just feel bad because one, at least if his contract is guaranteed, my man's getting paid, and if he's injured, he can, he'll take his time and get, rehab and stuff like that. Probably a week out from getting that contract, if we're being honest here. But the timing could not be worse.
And they're about to play. Alf, Kyle and I were talking about this before the show. They're playing like 3 games in 4 nights, like a bunch of times, like in the next few weeks, and they need as many bodies as they can because guys are going to get nicked and knocked, and they're going to need rest. And I wouldn't be surprised if another guy with that many games coming up. I would not be surprised if another guy gets hurt. Like, thank God Alec Burke stays ready because, like, he kind of slides in. And you don't like him?
No, I don't understand
why he doesn't play more.
Why he doesn't play more?
Bro, I have this conversation with Tiff all the time. There's too many dudes that are like.
So you want to know what I was about to counter to what you just said? They need as many guys as possible.
Get rid of Terry.
No, they don't. They need as few guys as fucking possible. Because the problem is the people that need to play are not playing. Like all of a sudden, Jovic gets minutes. Jovic looks amazing again, right? Like all of a sudden, Alec Burks gets minutes. Oh, I forgot he can't miss from the corners. And listen, I am not the biggest Alec Burks fan in the world, but 12 to 14, 15 minutes a game is perfect for Alec Burks. Like Jovic needs to be playing more, right? Like it, and honestly, like Jaime drives me crazy, and I'm fine with Jaime playing, but like I don't mind games where Terry Rozier and Jimmy are out. Like I don't mind it because I know I'm going to see more Pella. I'm going to see more Alec Burks. I'm going to see more Jovic. I'm going to see more Jaime Jaquez. I'm going to see more of the guys that I want to see and see what the future of this team really is.
I don't want Jaime Jaquez. I want the least amount of Jaime Jaquez.
We need to know, man. We just need to fucking know. And that's my whole thing. Like, I don't mind. Like, listen, I know normally in the past, like, oh man, they're always injured. Now we need more injuries on this team.
I don't know about the more injuries thing.
We need more, not young people.
Alf, because
more
like
veteran injuries.
Before Dru got hurt, you know what I mean? Like you had Dru, you had Larson, you had Jimmy, you had Tyler, Jaquez, Duncan, Jovic, Adebayo, Highsmith, Ware. It's a lot of guys to find minutes for.
Right. And I mean, my thing with that even is play them 5 minutes. Give them 5 minutes. Like you don't have to.
I understand, and I can see like guys not liking that.
It's a rhythm thing.
Yeah,
like, you don't want to.
I get that. I mean, now the question is,
unless
can a Josh Christopher bring some of that same intensity on defense. He's a bigger guard than Dru is.
Let's see.
He averaged 31 over the last 15 games in the G League.
Let's
I'm not
tell
saying that
Rose. What even happened to Rozier? Don't rush back. Like what happened to him? I didn't know there was something wrong with him. I like the fact he what?
Ankle. I think it's his ankle.
Don't rush back, baby. Just chill.
Chill. You want to go on vacation?
And I would love
Christmas?
to see both him. I would love to see both Josh and Kashad run some minutes.
Josh Richardson?
Down guys.
No, Christopher.
Oh, I was gonna say. I was like,
not Josh.
I was like,
and to chat, I don't want Josh to run point guard. I want Josh to score the ball. That's what I want him in there and to defend on the other side. That's all I want him there in there for. And then Kashad just to get some minutes because he's looked amazing. Obviously, to Al's point, a couple of pods back, post games back. G League doesn't always translate. However, I would love for him to be in a kind of Sean Marion, not the 3-point side, but just the defending big body. If Spo's going to run power forward, which is clearly what he's going to end up playing between the 3 and the 4. Run those guys some minutes, especially if Jimmy's going to be out. You don't have any Terry. You don't have Josh Richardson. So use the guys on the bench, see what they can give you. And now that Dru's injured, just experiment with that. I don't know when we're going to get point guard with averaging 17 assists. I cannot remember his name right now. For Skyforce. He's averaging like 12 to 13 assists per game. Isaiah Stevens. I don't know when he's getting called up. I don't know if they're going to do that. But that's another point guard who's a point guard. He's not looking to score unless he needs to. But they have some now. Granted, I think at the beginning of the season, there might have been some talk where we had too many guards. We had so many guards. It was like, okay,
we had a bunch of guards and none of them could actually dribble. That was the biggest problem. We had a bunch of guards.
That was the most annoying era.
We had a bunch of guards who needed the ball but couldn't dribble. It was very perplexing. And then Spo lectured us in the offseason. Like, why don't you think Terry Rozier and Tyler Hero can work? Motherfuckers, we watch ball. Like, what are you talking about? Like, we watch basketball and we know those, like, you can't put two clones next to each other. And one of the clones who's not as good as it. No, I'm saying
disrespect.
I wish Terry was giving us 25 a game.
No, I'm saying the clone is the one who wants to hold the ball more. Like he wants to keep the. And the funny thing is the people that suffered the most were Jimmy and Bam, and then honestly also when Nico was in that starting lineup. But like, thank God we've moved on from that, right? But like, we also just need to like.
What
and here's
chat saying.
What happened?
Chat doing. I can't read that.
What did he say? I missed it.
Oh my god.
But what I will say is when people talk about fire Spo, I'll never talk about fire Spo. Spo's still the best coach.
Bro,
in the
Alf,
NBA.
I hate that shit. And these people.
But what I will say is I understand the frustration of Spo's hand having to be forced to do what the fuck a novice fat ass like me who sits here drinking old fashions on weeknights, on school nights, like can see like very clearly. You know what I'm saying? We've been saying since the offseason that Terry Rozier and Tyler Hero shouldn't play together. It took an injury for Spo.
I was saying that since before he got here.
Bro, first of all, like let's talk about the front office because me and you were screaming, what the fuck is this trade from the very fucking beginning?
We were like two of the only people that were like, nah.
But but that's front office. Let's talk about the fact that Spo, this shit doesn't work, right? Let's talk about that. We've been saying this shit about Josh Richardson. Like, yo, this nigga is trash, bro. And I didn't even need to see the advanced stats to call that shit out.
Alf's eye test.
The eye test told me everything I need to know. Every time he stepped on the fucking floor, he was a Dwayne Dedman fucking Memorial Player of the Year. Every time he stepped on the floor, like he was such a net negative. And like, so I do understand the frustration with Spo this year. Like this loyalty to fucking mid, like this loyalty to ass players, like this idea that Terry Rozier was so bad that he can't start for you anymore, but he should play entire fourth quarters.
He's second in the team in fourth quarter minutes.
This is what the fuck I'm trying to say. So
did you say second?
Second. Eric Reed said that last, not the Orlando game, but whatever game was before that.
Okay, look, I'm not gonna call, and you saw me tweet. I'm not calling Spo perfect at all. I question some of the decision making sometimes. He's human. That's expected. The whole firing thing is stupid to me, mainly because I'm like, who are y'all? Who's the candidate? Who's the candidate? Please let me know who the candidate is.
Okay,
If you have a viable list, and that's why I always ask people, if you have a viable list of candidates that you think can replace Eric Spoelstra,
Hal, there is no candidate. He's one of the best coaches of all time.
Which is my point. That's my point. I just don't understand.
There can be frustration.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree. I just think it's so reactionary. Like, if you're gonna have a heart attack every game we lose, you're gonna end up in the hospital and I might have to visit you. So,
but I will
like,
say no. So like listen, but I will say, Kyle, Nick Saban, Kyle, I'm not the kind to overreact to a single loss. Like, there have been losses this year where I'm like,
we got to pull up old hangover time episodes.
No, there's been losses this year. I'm like, I'm okay with that loss because the people that played are the people that need to play, right? What I can't do losses where Terry Rozier plays the entire fourth quarter. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just can't do it.
It's point shaving, and somebody should investigate Spo's DraftKings accounts. That's all I'm saying.
But no, it is super frustrating. Like I will literally say, as a Heat fan, that is the worst trade that's ever. It is the worst trade.
It's the worst trade I've ever seen.
The Miami Heat.
So are we moving on from him? Which is my and granted,
I have moved on. I'm in
but value. Like,
but the other thing I will say is, like, I literally can't enjoy his minutes on the floor. Like, when he scores, I have no joy. There's no joy in him scoring. Dude, I can't even fucking enjoy it.
My girlfriend doesn't know basketball. She's like, why does that guy play so much when the game matters? And I was like, I don't know.
Like, I watch him every single time there's an impactful rebound. This motherfucker is nowhere to be seen. Nowhere. Like, and the shit that fucking bothers me is these are the things that the Miami Heat culture is built upon. The principles that support this. Like, the only people that could get away with shit like that were Dwayne Wade. Like,
and that's a, we're getting into some other territory with that.
Legendary talents. Like, a motherfucker as mid as Terry Rozier, this looter in a riot,
glorified role player.
Like this fucking Kemba Walker knockoff. Like,
I ain't gonna lie. Kemba was hooping, so I would take some Kemba. In this instance,
he is that boy nice Twitter personified. Like, he is just not.
I don't even think people think he's that boy nice anymore.
No, not anymore. Because
not even that he nice Twitter can defend
not even.
it.
But he's
lost them.
The fact that he could do none of the little things, right, and still demand playing time, like, that shit is unacceptable. I cannot sit here and abide by that and just say, oh yeah, it's okay because he got a contract. It's okay because you traded a first round pick.
If he could beat his man off the dribble, I wouldn't be upset. He dribbles into nothing, which is like the craziest thing is, if you're not going to dribble into a position to score, what are you dribbling to? I'm not going to bash him from a different perspective. I just don't like the dribbling to nothing.
Or to smoke a layup.
I need to clear up something in chat. Chat says Kemba hooped on the Hornets the way that Rozier hooped on. Kemba was making the playoffs. Kemba was playing games that mattered. Rozier's never done anything that mattered. I bet you a lot of people didn't know Rozier.
I said Kemba Walker knockoff.
Yeah.
Like a poor man.
No, I know what you said. I'm just letting chat know that
Dion Waiters with a better PR.
I'd rather have Dion.
I mean, Dion was hitting big shots though.
Dion Waiters without the public drug issues.
Dion played defense and had a meltdown on a plane. My goat. I miss him. And listen, the games are the flow better when Rozier's not there, and I think it's pretty obvious. I think,
guys, I said Kemba Walker knockoff. Like, understand what I'm trying to say.
I don't know what chat. I don't know what chat's doing here, but
chat is losing their minds on me.
And I want to say something real quick about Spo, but before we kind of get off this topic and then kind of close out on tonight's game, the idea that I see a lot of people saying Spo's they say he's been bad this year, and to that I say, I mean, what are they in offense? They're 10th in offense. They're 10th in offense. That team could not score, and they didn't get new players. It's not like Spo got new guys and he was able to like change stuff. He totally revamped the way they play offense.
Correct.
I think Alf and Kyle would agree. At minimum, they're watchable because I think we all knew. I got to be honest with you. Last season, there were days that I was like, I don't want to fucking watch this. This is awful to watch.
No, bad offense. Bad
They
offense.
just were
Bad
fucking shit
offense,
to
man.
watch. I don't think he's been bad. I think that he's been given a shit hand. The team is not very good. And I've said this a bunch. They have a bunch of one-way guys. This guy can't play defense, but he can score. That guy can't play defense, but he can't score. That motherfucker can't dribble, but he can guard. And you kind of do what you can. They're decent defensively. They're top. I think they're 12th on defense, 10th in offense. I'm sorry. That's the fact that he fucking revamped that in the summer with the same fucking pieces. I think you guys are being insane. I think this, and I'm going to get shit for this. I think people that bitch about rotations is because they don't know the actual game.
Correct.
All they can say is who's getting minutes, and that's what they learned to complain about. And I agree. I think sometimes we could say, I think Khalil Ware needs to play more. I think Terry Rozier needs to play less. Lord knows at least 20 minutes of this 42-minute episode has been about those guys. But that's not the only thing that happens on a court. And I think if you guys base all your judgment on a coach on that, you are already behind the 8 ball. I had some dude on Twitter that says, I don't know ball. Motherfucker, I forgot more about basketball than you'll ever know. So I just need people to shut the fuck up and please be serious. Yes, sir.
I disagree with like 90% of what you just said.
Well,
I do believe that. I know. Listen, I do believe that this team is more fun to watch, but I also believe it's been more fun to watch since his hand has been forced to do things that we on the sidelines have
like
known.
benching Rozier.
Like benching Rozier, not playing Josh Richardson. Like you can sit here and say, and I agree with you that Spo's one of the best coaches in the league. Now, I mean, I'm sorry, I think Spo is the best coach in the league. But
he still is.
Huh?
He still is.
No, I still think he is.
Right, right, yeah, I agree with you.
But what I will say is, don't tell me that rotations are just is a non-ball knowing way of fucking of.
I think it's
analyze.
reductive. I think it's reductive.
No. You know what the dumb shit is? Listen, and this is gonna sound crazy when I say this. When you get to game day, I used to coach very low-level basketball.
Hot take, Harry, incoming.
No, listen. When you
Harry.
get to game day, the most important thing a coach can do is rotations. At that point, the play calls, if you ain't practicing right or whatever, none of that shit matters, right? The play calls, all that stuff, none of it matters. The most important thing you can do is have a rotation that makes fucking sense, that gives your team the best chance to win. Okay. How many times have we watched a fourth quarter? If Haywood Highsmith had played over Terry Rozier, would they have won the game? Because at the end of the game, all your fucking net ratings and all this other garbage shit you brought doesn't matter if they fucking lose. Because honestly, you're building everything you fucking say off a goddamn Laker game. Okay? Remember that shit. Pull the fucking Laker game out and see what their fucking ratings are. Okay? What matters the fucking most is how many times has he done fucking dumb shit like put Rozier and fucking Jaime Jaquez to play the first 6 minutes of a fourth quarter and blew a fucking lead, right? And now Jimmy and Bam have to come in with 5:45 left to try to salvage some shit. But no, rotations don't matter. Oh, you don't know, but shut the fuck up. Like sometimes it's the simple shit. Like I don't give a fuck about Spain and fucking who's at the nail and who's running the fucking hammer and all the other goddamn bullshit everyone's always fucking worried about. Sometimes it's don't play trash niggas. Okay? Sometimes it's don't play mid all fucking game. Sometimes it's do not close with Terry Rozier for 12 minutes in the fourth fucking quarter. Like, we keep doing this stuff. Like, Bam, make a fucking shot. Oh, but Bam's net rating and it's plus minus and blah, 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 blah. Shut the fuck up with all that dumb shit. Sometimes just win a goddamn game. Okay? Like, so that's like, I still agree that, yes, Spo is the best fucking coach in the league. But I also agree, like, stop. Stop with the fucking excuses. Stop telling me what they're like the other day. Oh, there's only one team in the league. There's only 5 teams in the league. They're in top 11. You stretch it to 11 to fit them in. Okay, like let's stop with this fucking numbers garbage and this numbers nonsense, right? Let's fucking look at what's actually happening. And Spo has lost them 4 to 5 games.
And he's taking accountability for that, though. I would say that.
Okay, but let's just say that.
Thank you, Alex Toledo, for that.
I'll say that much. That's my thing. I'm gonna hold him accountable. I've been watching Spo for his I can't. It's been insane. Well, I was an assistant coach, right? But to me, some of this is his MO. To G's point, he's having to do a lot with little. I'm not saying he has little entirely here. I'm just saying he's always being given. If you talk about post Shaq, those years with Wade, right? Some of those rosters were abysmal that Wade had to play with, and they were 5th seed, 45 win teams.
Yeah, you didn't fuck with Jacobo Diawara? Daquan Cook?
They made it work. And so to some degree, he's been made to be used to having to do a lot with a little. And I'm not knocking our guys. I think there's talent there. I think some of these guys are talented. I just think that there's certain things, as far as you talking about, as far as rotations are concerned, there is not a clear, defined understanding. Hey, your role is this in this particular moment. Hey, I don't want you doing this while you're out there. Only do this. And then guys get out there, and this is my thing. Well, I'm going to hold Spo accountable. I was going to hold guys accountable. He can't put the ball in the basket for him. He can't make layups for him. He can't make free throws for him. He can't not turn the ball over and make a smart pass instead. Like, he can coach that. But some of these games that we've lost have come down to, hey, don't pass the ball in traffic. It's going to be a simple basketball play. Or if you see a guy rolling and he's open, hey, make that pass, not the pass.
Kyle, we've watched those games as a group, and we've come away from those games saying, and we've blamed the players, but then we've had these games where we've come away and said, Spo lost that shit.
Of course.
It's what I'm saying is this team is better. That this team without Spo would not be 13 or 14 and 13. If anybody else is coaching this team, they'd probably be, bottom of the barrel in the East.
Agreed.
But what I will say is that Spo has made it harder on himself several times this year. Several fucking times this year. Like he is like, it's almost like the whole get it out the mud theme, like it's so pervasive that it's like he's like, I know there's an easy way to win this fucking game, but how can I finagle some shit? Like I know that's not actually what's happening, but I'm watching it. I'm like, why are we making this so fucking hard? Like put Haywood Highsmith out there to get a stop. Like we're bleeding. We're up by 8. Put Haywood out there, right? No. And like we have times like we're looking at there's a defensive possession with a couple minutes left, and Terry Rozier, Tyler Hero, and Duncan Robinson are on the floor.
Don't like that lineup in closing moments for a defensive stop. I don't. I agree with you. I don't like it. Not a fan.
But like these are the things where it's like when I would say for me personally, I do not care what the numbers say. This is one of Spo's, up until the Rozier injury that forced his hand, this has been one of Spo's worst seasons. And I
agree with that. I agree with that.
So what were you arguing with the guy on Twitter? You don't know ball.
I just think that
but he was calling for Spo's job.
Wanting to fire and I said he's a legendary coach, and they're like, legend for what? I go, what the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, he's fifth. He's what? Is he top 10?
He's been to like 6 fucking finals. What the fuck are people saying?
I don't understand.
No, hold on, wait a second. Chat's like, what was the point of that whole speech? The point was, it's like I just think people overreact. I think that
I think there's a happy medium, and I think
I agree with a lot.
For some strange reason, my drunk ass is occupying that happy medium, which I normally don't occupy. But I do think like,
bipartisan Alf.
No, but it's just same way I set fire to Bam's ass. Like, but I still think he's top 1 or 2 defenders in the entire league. He's the most important player on this Heat team. The best, like I would say, Hero has been the best player this season by far, right?
Yeah,
but I'm also the same guy who killed Tyler Hero for the last 5 years. I think there's room to just be fucking rational, right? Except when it comes to Terry Rozier. There's no rationality left. Send him to The Hague.
I'm just sick of him and everything. By the way, I want to give a quick shout out to Eric the Great. Subscribed for 15 months at tier 1, and he's been subscribed for 50 months. 50 months. It's like, how many fucking years is that?
Salute. 4.
Dude, 4 fucking years of just
the math ain't that hard, bro. Like
fucking, it's Christmas Eve.
Kyle, I know.
It's Christmas Eve. Fucking let me live, motherfuckers. Let
Kyle,
me fucking live.
You're new here. Like I could see on your face, you're like, how many years? Like, what the fuck you talking about? Divide by 12.
These dudes be killing me, dude. Absolutely killing me.
I guess my biggest point is this team is not as bad as and here's the thing, we've talked about this. They're a middle of the road team. I don't think expecting them to be better than middle of the road unless they make a move is the most asinine, insanity, expecting something different out of this team. This is a similar team to last season with some alterations. We don't have what's his name? Oh man, I just lost his freaking name. Who we were playing? No. We should not have been playing him. Australian guy. Oh man.
Oh my God, Patty Mills.
Okay, right? We don't have Patty Mills going off the bench. Okay?
Last year's team was really bad. I'm going to disagree with you, Kyle. This team is better than last year.
Agreed. No, I agree. I'm saying it's better than last year.
And I will say
they're still a middle of the pack team because
this
of the parity in the league.
What I will say, this team should be really competing for a first round home series. This is what this team should be competing for.
Here's my problem. At least 10 of these losses should have been wins, in my opinion. I could be wrong about my perspective on that. I just think that some of the 10
win every 50-50
lost
game, though.
Could have been wins. They should have been up the standings a little bit more. They could have won some of these games. They gave some games away. That's what I mean. And funny, for all the reactionary explosions that happen on Twitter, this team is 6th. I thought you would think these guys are the 15th team in the league, or the 30th team in the league overall. They're 6th.
You know what it is? I think a lot of Heat fans are tired of them seeing them around 6th all year, and then blow a Knicks game. Or no, well, not the Knicks are actually good this year. Let's say blow up another Pistons game, right? And blow 4 or 5 of these games, and they've already had a couple of them, 2 Pistons games.
Yeah.
Right? A game against the Magic. So there's 3 games right now that they had in hand that should have been wins. And then when you drop and then you end up as a 9th seed or an 8th seed in the play-in tournament, and people are fucking furious. This is what people are tired of, and this is the 3rd year of this, right?
Right.
One time they miraculously made it to the finals, and then last year we saw what happened. So you have to understand the fan mentality of year after year after year of the same thing. People start to get fucking fed up, right? And then to see the same shit over and over again.
By that you mean roster? Because this is where I think some.
But so now we're at the point where despite roster, the third quarter is still happening, blowing leads are still happening, losing games that you really should win is still happening. So this thing so now we've gotten to this fucking Jimmy missing time, right? Bam just fucking disappearing for stretches of the season. The one thing that we have to count on this year that we didn't count on in the past is Tyler being fucking generational every single night, right? But beyond that, we've had and then to watch also that we're to see guys like Terry and Josh Richardson Mo Harkless and Dwayne Dedman. It's just the same things over and over again. And fans are witnessing it's some deja vu shit at this point. Like there hasn't been this turnaround. Like last year when we finally got to this lineup of Kyle, Duncan, Haywood, Bam, and Jimmy, and they were running shit. And Tyler was on the bench, and it was looking beautiful again. And all of a sudden, injuries happen and blah, blah, blah. They never go back to it, even when people are healthy again. Like now we just are beholden to Tyler as a starter. Like people are so tired of this same old goddamn story. And it feels like it's happening again. And that Magic game, like it was a breaking point for a lot of fans. You got to understand where they're coming from.
No, I get that because I feel like I had not seen the fan reaction be that angry. Dude, I gotta be honest with you. I don't remember a time that just everyone was just collectively done. They broke Leif. When you break Leif, you lost the strongest soldier.
But this is year 3 of mid.
Yeah.
And honestly, mid is the worst place to be in the NBA. We say it all the time. It really is. And it's year 3.
Like a lot of teams are, if you look at it. If you look at both East-West, there aren't that many wins separating teams. It seems like either I'm being extremely positive where I feel like it's just the entire league is extremely competitive and you're getting your best shot from any team every night, or every team is really middling right now. Like the Warriors were down 53 to like 80 something a couple nights ago. I don't know if it was the Grizzlies or I can't remember what team it was against. They had 58 points in the fourth quarter. I'm just saying, like, it feels like there's more competition top to bottom. I mean, the Pistons could beat somebody they shouldn't have beat supposedly the other night. In my opinion, I'm just saying respect the league in the sense that these are NBA players, right? So at the end of the day, whether we think this team is horrible, this is a lottery team, at the end of the day, these are pros. And none of us could go out there and
Kyle, as you watch the rest of the league and you watch other teams do things to improve themselves,
agreed.
What have the Heat done to improve this team?
I can argue with you there.
So that's the thing. Like, it's not; these things are not mutually exclusive, right? Like there's an anger with the front office, right? There's an anger with the front, and then to the point where like you look at a lot of fans were emboldened by the Terry trade last year. I don't know why, but now you're starting to see how So there's several levels of the Terry trade. You trade an expiring, dumb move. You trade an expiring who was a more productive, and I don't care what all these box score counting stat people, like when you talk about impact on the game, winning, right? Kyle was a better player than Terry Rozier. And I don't care what you say. There's not an advanced stat in this world. Someone says Alf hates advanced stats unless it's the Kyle Lowry. No, I watched him win when Kyle Lowry played, and I watched him play well. And I watched Kyle Lowry box people the fuck out with his big ass.
Good box out.
And I watched Terry do none of these things. I watched Kyle Lowry step up defensively a lot. Maybe not point of attack one-on-one, but he was a great team defender. Terry Rozier is none of these fucking things, right? So you trade because Kyle Lowry was rude to people and people didn't like him and he hurt the fan base's feelings. Apparently, he was worth giving up for a fucking Terry Rozier, okay? So Terry Rozier, and then you give up, not to mention an expiring contract, a first-round pick, right? So now you have Terry Rozier on your roster. And we've all realized Terry's ass, okay? And then you find out in the offseason that trade limited your ability to make moves this offseason. And then you find out through reporting that the Heat didn't understand the fucking cap rules.
Wait,
okay?
I missed that. What?
They reported that Andy was taken off guard. He was caught off guard by what the impact of the Terry Rozier trade for their ability to make moves this offseason was. Brian Goins knew it, but apparently Andy Ellsberg was fucking surprised. And apparently, there's fucking aprons.
That goes to my point from a few episodes. I think he's had to make some weird moves, and I'm not negating anything you're saying. I'm just saying that as you mentioned, it's not mutually exclusive. He's had to do things with the cap space, with minimal cap space anyway.
But why? No,
So-
but he didn't have to make that move. They did not have to make that move. That was a Band-Aid on a gaping fucking wound of a bad season. Somebody's like, listen, let me see. These are where I get fucking riled up, okay? Because we are sitting here, just random ass niggas in various spaces across the country. We are not basketball experts. As much as we pretend to be and we enjoy it and we talk about these things, the people in those rooms are basketball experts. And they thought that it was worth it to go get Terry Rozier, that it was going to fix something, right? Because the smart thing to do was to ride out that shit roster in that shit year and just Kyle Lowry, whatever the fuck it was, you would have probably been better off with Kyle Lowry. You might have made maybe one or two first round games, right? But instead, they put lipstick on one of the ugliest fucking pigs I've ever seen, and decided not only to put lipstick on a pig, to fucking trade a pair of diamond earrings for it, for some lipstick. Like, you need first round picks to make moves. So now people are talking about, oh, well, De'Aaron Fox is upset. So
Alf, they could have.
Fuck you. What are you gonna trade for De'Aaron Fox? You ain't got shit left because you got Terry Rozier in this motherfucker who can't even start anymore, who probably shouldn't even be a rotation player, right? Like, that is the shit. Like, they need to be taking the fucking task for. Because you thought that this was a fix. Like, you thought you were taking a team that was in around a 6-7 seed, and you were going to challenge the Boston Celtics with Terry Rozier, and that was worth giving fucking mortgaging the future for. Yes, and they could have freed up cap space with fucking Kyle Lowry.
If they had let Kyle expire, they could have used a mid-level exception, been under the second apron, and whoever they could have gone with the mid-level exception, I guarantee you, probably would have been more productive than Terry Rozier. I mean, and they would have still had a first-round pick. So they would have had a $10 to $12 million salary. That is movable because that plus Duncan, that gets you to 30+ mil. You know what I mean? You could start. And by the way, Duncan's an attractive piece to teams. He's playing really, really well this season. And if you want to get in the room for like a good player, you can add his contract with somebody. I mean, there were avenues to do stuff, and they just really punted on that because they really needed Terry Rozier for some reason.
And I hate that we keep rehashing it, but like a lot of it is just like, I'm just really, really.
Bro, this season is impacted by that because by the way, Rozier never available. No. How is that guy never play and he's second in the team in fourth quarter minutes? That's crazy. He has more than Tyler Hero.
And Tyler has a missing game.
And he's played fewer games than Tyler.
It's stupid. Like, so to me, like, so usually Kyle, like, I am on y'all's side where I'm like, he's front office deserves a ton of benefit of the doubt. Spo deserves a ton of benefit of the doubt. Like, I'm not saying fire Riley. I'm not saying fire Spo. But there is no criticism of these motherfuckers this year that I will sit there and say is unfair. Outside of firing.
That's what I mean. I agree.
None of it is unfair. They deserve every fucking thing that's come to them because you have sat here and done nothing.
They haven't
nothing.
Fair enough.
Nothing to help the Jimmy build. The biggest things you've done are bringing Kyle Lowry, old Kyle Lowry, who should have been a bargain, right? Somehow you still had to give things up for him. I don't remember how that whole thing went out. And then traded Kyle Lowry when you're about to get off of his contract and you had to attach a first-round pick for somebody worse than Kyle Lowry.
Let's not forget, Alf, when they got Kyle Lowry, they traded Goran and Precious,
Correct.
Precious, so that's essentially two first-round picks.
They traded the first round.
Yeah.
They traded the first round.
No, they didn't trade the first round. Well, yeah, basically.
Was a first round
what I'm saying is, like, for Rozier, they given out the door because is Precious and another first, and Lowry was the guy that they got.
And then Chad is pointing out PJ Washington, Gafford, Derek White. All these different guys have been available at different times, and they've refused to ever go get NBA players because what they do is like they pull shit off the trash heap instead, and then they develop the trash heap into NBA players and then let them walk for nothing. Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, no return on any of those investments, right?
They're also cheap. And here's my thing: I've had people disagree with me on Twitter about that. And what I mean by cheap isn't that they won't pay guys. What I mean by cheap is they won't pay a guy who should get the money they're giving to certain guys and just go get them. Like P.A. Washington should get paid. He's a difference maker. Gafford, difference maker. He should get paid. They don't go get that guy. They go get a different guy. So in that regard, I've always felt that they've been cheap. And people are, oh, he'll open his pocketbook if there's an NBA level talent. Guys, we've let a lot of like glue guy pieces that are legitimate glue, like that's their role. That's what they do. They help a team win a championship. They're not the main guy, but we haven't made proper. If I had to say, like, instead of making the foundation properly, they've put paper towel and painted mache over it.
Yeah.
So in that regard, that's where I'm annoyed. If I'm going to hold them accountable, it's that they've decided, oh, we're not going to pay this guy because he's not a Heat guy. I'm sorry. Well, the guy you sign isn't a better Heat guy.
Well, what about the rumors this past offseason that Trae Young was available and that Spo didn't want him? And it's like
I know that defensively, that maybe
he's just as
want him, but
Terry Rozier is just as bad. From a point guard position, one scoring wise, two passing wise, he would have been light years better than what we currently have on the roster as far as the point guard is concerned. Is he a liability on defense? Yes, because he's an undersized point guard. But he's going to get bammed the ball on a roll? Yes. Is he going to score from 40 out? I would take a Tyler Hero and a Tyler and a Trae Young backcourt. I don't know if they would have gotten to keep Tyler, but I'm just saying hypothetically, I would have taken that over what we currently have. Because now you have two guys to worry about who can shoot for 40. And we didn't know a lot of people in the chat are saying that Trae is a lot worse than Terry on defense. Man, y'all got to watch.
But he's a lot better on offense. And
but I'm just saying, what I would say is the deficiency on defense, I don't think is that big because I think they're both very bad. But the difference on offense is huge. So, but to your point, Kyle, like you're saying, like, oh, guys are Heat players, guys are not Heat players. Like, and a lot of, like, remember, guys, a lot of this shit is on Spo. Spo makes a lot of decisions now. So when people are complaining about Spo, that's part of it, okay? Like, that's part of it. Like, Spo is making a lot of these decisions. I don't want a guy like Trae. You know, it's like someone says Trae, horrible. What the fuck do we have? Would Trae not be the best Heat point guard since Goran Dragic?
In a long time.
Bro, he would be the second best Heat point guard ever.
Second best Heat point guard ever. And people are fucking saying, oh, Trae's
maybe
trash.
The best. Maybe the best.
I mean, are we going to say Tim Hardaway? Old Tim Hardaway with one knee is better?
Maybe, or yeah.
And D-Wade, to the point, D-Wade wasn't a point guard. He played point guard. He didn't play. He wasn't a point guard. Just to throw that out there, because there are people who.
I feel so bad. I got in here drunk and started ranting and raving, and G wanted this to be like a 20-minute post-game show.
I did, and this is the longest post-game show of the season for a random game against the Brooklyn
Nets.
That we won, and we barely talked about the game, but we did talk a lot about Spo-tations. Merry Christmas, you guys! Happy. Other holidays, Hanukkah, all that, Kwanzaa, all that good stuff. Love y'all. Enjoy.
Nobody actually celebrates Kwanzaa. Sorry.
I gotta be honest. Maybe this is wrong of me to say. I don't even know what Kwanzaa is.
No, nobody does.
What is Kwanzaa?
It's provocative. It gets the people going.
I can't spell Kwanzaa.
Nobody can.